Hello and welcome back to the Fast Five presented by IU Sports Media. I'm Ben Polanski.
And I'm Luke Ardema as we give you the fastest 5 minutes in IU athletics. Over the weekend, the Indiana women's basketball team hosted the first round of the NCAA Tournament. The Hoosiers drew 13-seeded Fairfield in the first round, and Sarah Scallier led the team with 27 points en route to an 89-56 win. Indiana had to fight to keep on dancing, and the next opponent in their way was number 5 seed Oklahoma. It was a close game in which the Sooners led narrowly going into the fourth quarter, and Big 12 Player of the Year, Skylar Vann, led Oklahoma with a 20-point performance. Indiana leaned on their seniors, Mackenzie Holmes and Sydney Parrish, who both have had injuries throughout the season, but neither missed a beat, with Mackenzie Holmes scoring 29 for the Hoosiers and Sydney Parrish adding 17 points of her own to will the Hoosiers to the Sweet 16 with a 75-68 win. The Hoosiers finished the year with a perfect 17-0 at home record. Indiana will face a difficult challenge when they face off versus undefeated and number 1 overall seed South Carolina on Friday.
Since 1951, the legendary Little 500 bike race has pedaled its way through the heart of Indiana University's rich traditions. Our Sarah Lucier has more on this weekend's qualification races.
Thanks, Ben. As April rolls around, the Bloomington campus is gearing up for the world's greatest college weekend, the Little 500 bike race. This past weekend at Bill Armstrong Stadium, 34 women's bike teams took to the track to compete for 33 qualifying spots. The 4-legged bike teams competed in a 4-lap, 1-mile race. Interestingly enough, this year was the most amount of teams that have signed up to race since 2014. This year's women's bike team, Teeter, walked away with the number 1 spot with a time of 2:47. Followed by Alpha Chi Omega with a time of 2:49, and Novus, who was cited as the dark horse by the Little 500 Network, finishing with 2:52. In the men's race, Sigma Phi Epsilon took the lead with a time of 2:26, followed by Sigma Alpha Epsilon and the Black Key Bulls to round out the top 3. Last year's champion team, the Cutters, fell to 6th place as they stated to the IDS that they lost 2 impactful seniors, but are hopeful going into late April. Looking forward to Little 500 weekend, the women's race will take place on Friday, April 19th at 4 o'clock, and the men's race will be on Saturday starting at 2.
Thanks, Sarah. The Indiana men's tennis team took on Cornell this past weekend, looking to extend their home winning streak. Unfortunately for Indiana, Cornell would hand the Hoosiers a 4-1 loss. Indiana came out strong in the doubles play, winning both number 1 and number 2 doubles. When it came for the singles play, Cornell overpowered IU, winning number 1, 3, 4, and 6 singles to clinch the match. With the loss, Indiana's record moves to 12-5 on the season. Indiana will be back in action on Friday as the Hoosiers host Penn State at the IU Tennis Center.
The Indiana baseball team opened up Big Ten play this past weekend as Illinois visited Bart Kaufman Field. Our Joe Cronin has more.
A defensive collapse, a pitching masterclass, and a first series loss at home as the Indiana baseball team lost the Big Ten opening series against the Illinois Fighting Illini this weekend. Friday night's opener saw the Hoosiers up 1-0. That led to a snowball inning, giving up 8 total runs where they inevitably lost 9-1 as the inability to string together consistent hits plagued the Hoosiers.
You're up 1-0 going to the 6th or the 7th, and they have a huge inning, and then we pitch well before and well after. It's just we have to get our best pitches out of our hand in those innings, in those moments, and we just weren't able to do it again today.
A cold and windy Saturday saw arguably the best pitching performance of the year, as through 7 innings, over 100 pitches, and a career best 10 strikeouts later, Connor Foley led the charge at the mound as the Hoosiers would win 8-1, setting up the Sunday rubber match.
And I thought this was obviously Connor's best game at Indiana, but he pitched, he mixed, he got to both sides, he called fastball in, he shoved it in, he called away, threw it away.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, it all starts with the trust that these guys have me in the dugout, teammates and coaches both, to allow me to go out there and keep going after, like, to the 6th and the 7th. Like, you know, you could easily put another guy in.
Indiana was unable to find the consistency on the mound on Sunday as 10 pitchers and over 20 hits later, Illinois was able to take control, winning 15-8. That was highlighted by multi-run home runs in both the first and third inning, as Indiana would inevitably fall in their first Big Ten series.
We have to collectively get together and find a way to move over the hill, get over the hump as a unit. And so, like I told them, there's no one else coming. There's no.
Indiana will be back home on Bart Kaufman Field on Tuesday to take on Middle Tennessee State. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Joe. That concludes our coverage for today. Thanks for tuning in.
Be sure to follow along with the socials at IU Fast 5 for all news about Indiana athletics. Until next time, I'm Luke Ardema.
And I'm Ben Polanski. We'll see you next week.